Email list, email list, email list. Maybe you say, Jonathan, I'm tired of people saying grow an email list. I feel like it's the hardest thing in the world to do. How do I do that when I have no traffic? Or I don't want to pay for expensive Facebook ads. Well, if you've had that question, I want to teach you kind of a secret strategy, a secret sauce to building your email list fast, even if right now you have no one on your list. Let's get started. Hey messengers, welcome to the Market Your Message Show. I'm your host, Jonathan Milligan, and author of the new book, Your Message Matters, How to Rise Above the Noise and Get Paid for What You Know. And in today's episode, I want to talk to you about how to launch a virtual summit. Maybe you've seen these and maybe you've participated in them as a participant, but I'm going to talk to you about what a virtual summit is and how you can use this strategy to build your email list quickly. So here's what you're going to discover in today's episode: what the Oprah Effect is and why it's so powerful, why a virtual summit can build your email list fast, how to earn money with the virtual summit, and much, much more. By the way, if you're just getting started and you're like, Jonathan, I don't even have a blog running or a podcast. I don't even have a website. So where do I get started? Well, we get this question a lot. So I created a 9-page guide that will walk you through the process that we use called the Discover Your Message Blueprint. This is going to help you nail down the 3 most important parts of discovering your message. You need to understand your purpose, people, and passion. And when you combine those 3 things, you will have a powerful business built from your story and experience and passion to create the business you love. All right, so all you got to do to get this is go to marketyourmessage.com/discover. Again, it's marketyourmessage.com/discover. All right, so let's get into today's topic, how to launch a virtual summit. So virtual summits are incredibly powerful. And the reason why I used Oprah just a second ago is I want to explain this idea to you, and I'm going to map it out on my iPad. So if you're listening to the podcast, then come check us out over on YouTube. Just look up my name, Jonathan Milligan, and you can watch this episode. But I'll describe it for you best I can if you're listening on the podcast. So the reason it's called Oprah Effect is because think about it. Was Oprah a celebrity and then started interviewing people on her show? Or did she become a celebrity in the process of interviewing other celebrities? That's the Oprah Effect. And so the idea here behind a virtual summit, and this works across any niche, is to take a singular topic that people are interested in your niche. So for example, I started off as a career coach for accounting professionals. That was my first blog. That's how I made my first full-time money online, was in the career coaching space. And so back then, if I'd known about summits, I would have created a summit for accounting careers. So how to level up your accounting career. And then what I would have done is I would have went out and invited people in my space who already have a following of accounting professionals that follow them. Okay. And so by interviewing these people, what's going to happen is the Oprah Effect's going to happen because you're going to be associated with this individual that you're interviewing, the celebrity in your niche, and it's going to create instant credibility and rapport because you are interviewing them. Now, if that doesn't make sense, let's jump over into the iPad and let me show you an illustration. So here we have, I grabbed a snapshot of my ConvertKit account. And as you can see here, it's kind of small, but it's way back in 2016 all the way till now. And what you notice is there's some stair steps that happen here. Now, what this represents is the number of email subscribers on my email list. Notice this jump here. Notice this jump. And then notice one more jump in subscribers. Now, if you're listening on the podcast, basically it's a straight up straight up of number of email subscribers all at one time. And as you can see, these are incredibly powerful when you're building an audience online, that you're able to use this strategy. Now, there's 2 strategies that you can do to get like overnight success with building your email list. I'm talking thousands of emails. One of them, it's kind of the first one on this graph, was an additional 6,500 email addresses. That was from a virtual summit that I hosted called the Amplify Summit for writers, speakers, and coaches. And so what I did is I went out there and I found influencers who were teaching writers, and I found influencers who were teaching people how to speak, and I found influencers who were teaching people how to coach. And I brought them together to interview them for a free summit that I hosted. And that resulted in 6,500 email addresses in about 10 days. And this is the power of a virtual summit. So what exactly is a virtual summit? Maybe you're still a little bit confused. Let me just do a quick sketch out of what it is. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a page, a landing page on your site that is going to collect an email, and it's going to be about your summit. So you might even have the pictures of the people you're going to be interviewing, things like this. And the summit doesn't cost any money. It's free. And the reason why we want it to be free is because we want to build our email list. So what you do to get a summit going is you need to interview people. So you're going to need to make a list of people that you would like to interview. And when I did this, I used Zoom. And so I would just schedule the interviews, 30-minute interviews, and I would interview other experts who already have gathered together the audience that you want. They already have the audience there, right? And so you interview these experts, and that's kind of step one, all right? Now, here's where the magic sauce begins to happen. These experts all have followings. They have people on their email list. And so about a week or two before the virtual summit, you're going to give them a couple of emails that they can promote to their list. And it's a real simple email like, hey, I was recently interviewed on the Level Up Your Accounting Career virtual summit. And you can go watch my talk, and I got a free ticket for you because the event is entirely free. There's over 20 experts sharing how to level up your career. Click here to go join that summit. And here's the cool thing. Let's say, the first expert has 5,000 on their list. The next one has 20,000. Maybe another one has 100,000. But they're all promoting it to your page that you set up on your site. And as people put in their email address, guess what is happening? Your list is growing, just like the chart that I showed you. You get to collect those emails. Now, I shared this strategy. I taught this strategy to somebody in my Insider program who had about 150 people on his email list. Now, his niche is in the digital parenting space, how to raise kids in a digital world. And so he put together a summit, did exactly what I'm describing here. And within literally a week, his email list went from 150 to over 1,200 emails. That is the power of doing this strategy. So again, as people put in their email address, they get access to the interviews. And that's where the people you're interviewing are creating all the expertise, the knowledge, the product, and you're just the facilitator. You are Oprah. And as the Oprah effect goes, people on your list will now begin to follow you because they see you as an expert in this niche. Okay, so there's one more piece that I want to share with you because you might be saying, but it seems like there's a lot of moving parts. I want to share with you just a few tips on what to do before during and after your virtual summit. Now, this is just going to scratch the surface, but you're going to understand kind of the different pieces to this. All right. So first of all, in the before column, you've got to get organized. This is important because what's going to happen is you get to start by collecting 30 or 50 names of influencers. You got to go research on Amazon, find people who've published books, or find people who have a following or a big following on a podcast or a YouTube channel. You've got to do your research. And so you're going to need a spreadsheet to help keep it organized. And in that spreadsheet, you need to know, have I reached out to them to invite them to my summit? Or I reached out to them and I've heard nothing. I would recommend that you reach out 4 times, once a week, over the course of 4 weeks. So not too pushy, but enough to try to get your answer. And what you'll find is a lot of people will say yes. Now, you might be wondering, Jonathan, I'm a nobody. Why would somebody say yes? You're asking that, right? But here's the thing. You're the Oprah. You are bringing value, especially when you get your first couple yeses. You can use those names to say, hey, I'm hosting the summit. Here's a few of the other speakers at the summit, and I would love to interview you. And it'll just take 30 minutes of your time. And then everybody collectively is going to be promoting this. And we'll give you exposure about your book or your podcast or your YouTube channel. And that is why people will say yes to this. All right. So you got to get organized. You also got to reach out. So I've already kind of mentioned this, but you got to do the reach out process. I know it's not always the fun thing, but you can absolutely do this. And like I said, I was surprised the first time when I got yeses because I asked some big names that I had no connections with. They didn't know me from anyone. And I'm reaching out to them on a contact form on their website thinking, I don't know if I'll ever get an answer back. And I got yeses. So this is powerful if you do it. And then finally, tools. What are the tools you're going to use? Now, back in the day, about 3 or 4 years ago, when I did my first summit, I used WordPress, and then I used Zoom to record the interviews, and then I uploaded them to YouTube, an unlisted YouTube. So it's kind of like a private YouTube link. And I just put the videos on the WordPress pages. You can do that. But there's some new tools these days. For example, there's a paid solution called Hello Summit. And that's the thing that they do. You can pay, it's really not that expensive to have this software run your entire summit. But you got to choose your tools. All right, let's talk about during your virtual summit. What do you need to be doing? Well, the main thing is going to be the email invites. Now, this is going to be obviously to your list. Now, even though this is under the during column, it's really about a week out. I would recommend about a week out, maybe 2 weeks at the most, that you start letting people opt in your page to grab their free ticket to the summit. But this next part is the key to making this whole thing work. And that is the influencer. They're the influencer list. So after you interview them, about a couple weeks before, you want to send them a pre-written email that you've already written for them. And it needs to say something like, I got your free ticket. Hey, I was recently interviewed for the Level Up Your Accounting Career Summit, and I'm one of 20 speakers. Here's a list of some of the other speakers there. The cool part is I was able to get you a free ticket. It's entirely free. Just click here to go claim your ticket. You can watch my interview and all the other experts as well. That's simple. And give them 2 or 3 variations they can send to their list. Okay. And then the last thing is the actual summit emails. So even though you've pre-recorded these videos, you are going to launch them like they are live. So if the summit is 5 days, Monday through Friday, on Monday, you're going to be releasing, let's say, 3 speakers. And so on Monday morning, you need to send an email to everybody who has opted into your virtual summit and say, hey guys, here's today's lineup. The videos, the interviews are ready to go watch. We've got this expert talking about this topic, this expert about this topic, and this expert about this topic. And you want to communicate and get them consuming this. That's so very important because you want them to get value out of this. But here's the key. Only make these available to watch for 48 hours. Only make it available to watch for 48 hours. Now, the only reason why you want to do this is if you plan to sell these interviews. And that is an option that I'm going to talk about in just a second. This is how you make money from a virtual summit. Because you can say, hey, listen, these are available to watch for the first 48 hours. That means the Monday interviews can be watched until Wednesday, and then they get put in the vault, and so on and so forth, however long your summit is. But if you want to sell it, you must put them in the vault because they've got to watch it or they've got to buy it to get access to all of them. Because as you release these, they may not be able to sit there and watch all of them every day. So at some point they're going to like, man, this is so good. I just want to get I just want to have these recordings. And that brings me to after. So this is where you can consider to do an all access pass. Now you can sell this during the summit. In fact, I recommend that you do. And here's what you do. You say, hey, right now as this summit's going on, you can get lifetime access to all these recordings for $197. But once the summit is over, that price is going up to $297. So it creates a little bit of urgency. And then after the summit, you now have a product that you can sell. This strategy I was talking about with the person in my insider program who did the virtual summit for his parenting niche. He made, I think, well over $1,500 just selling the recordings. And he had no product before that. So it's pretty awesome. And then here's one other tip that I want to give you because this is powerful too. If you have a desire to launch an online course or a membership site or a coaching program, then this is where the magic happens. You want to launch 2 to 4 weeks after this summit. So the summit brings in all the emails. People get value from all of the experts, and now they are on your email list. And about 2 to 4 weeks later, you present your offer, your course, your membership site, your coaching program, because you have gathered together a targeted audience. So there you have it. Those are the steps of launching a virtual summit. I hope that you've got a great overview now of what a virtual summit's all about and how you can grow your list quickly by doing one of these. Is it work? Yes. What it's not is expensive. It's not expensive. You do have to put in some time into it. It depends on how many experts you want to do. I think I had 30, which is a lot. My goal was 15, but I kept getting more yeses, so I extended it an extra week and did 30. But you can do as little as 5. Just know that usually the less number that you interview, the less results you're going to get. All right, so that's it for this episode. I hope this was truly helpful to you. And if you're wondering, well, I'm just trying to get started, don't forget about our 9-page kind of get started guide for starting an online business. It's called the Discover Your Message Blueprint. Go to marketyourmessage.com/discover, and you can get this 9-page blueprint to help you decide the right business to start. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Thank you for always being here. Many of you are watching, listening every single episode. If you've got some ideas of what you'd like for me to cover on future episodes, let me know. And also take a moment right now and like, share, or subscribe, or even review our show so that we know you want us to create more content like this. All right, until then, never forget, your message matters.